Welcome to TMZ Live. The glove that was found in a field that was similar to the glove in the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping, the results are in, and there is no DNA hit in the CODIS system. The CODIS system is the FBI's file of 57 million people, most of whom have had criminal records, and at least for that, no hit. So a setback, but it's not over because there are other ways that that DNA can be tested using something that many of us have used in the past.
Right. That we have used in the past. Oh, a PCR test.
No. I'm talking about genealogy. That there is a secondary way that authorities have actually used genealogy testing to figure out whose DNA it is.
Right.
And
most of the big companies don't participate in this.
23andMe and Ancestry.com do not participate for privacy reasons. But there are smaller companies that law enforcement has used in the past. And what they can do is, even if they don't get a direct hit, they can get a hit that's very similar of a relative. And what they do is they just start fanning out when they find a close hit and figuring out who are the relatives. Is there a relative in the Tucson area? What is the profile like? And they have actually found people this way. So that is a secondary way. They generally do not do that unless CODIS comes up goose eggs, which it did.
What is also interesting, that when the sheriff released this news about the DNA test results, not only said there was no hit in CODIS, but also didn't say that there was a match, because they had said that they have recovered DNA from Nancy's home that doesn't belong to Nancy. And it didn't match that DNA either. Or at least he didn't say it did. Now, obviously, I think they would have said that had they known that.
They would have said that had they known that. The other kind of puzzling thing about this is that we talked to some federal officials who said you can't use the CODIS system unless the glove is tested by an FBI-approved lab in the state where the item was found. And here, the state was Arizona. The sheriff sent it to Florida. And what we were told is the glove went back to Arizona for retesting before it could go in the CODIS system. Maybe this gets a little bit in the weeds, but when the sheriff came out just a few minutes ago from when we're talking to you and said there was no DNA hit, he just mentioned the Florida lab, never said anything about Arizona.
About coming back to Arizona.
Which is puzzling to me.
Right.
So can't figure...
A little in the weeds, because the DNA testing, the bottom line is there's nothing in CODIS, but now we have to wait for this next wave of testing to see if there's a match in this genealogy. Now, a genealogy match.
Other thing we were told about the glove, and then we're going to move on to something else, is that you've seen a picture, I'm sure, of the glove that a New York Post photographer captured. It is not that glove that was tested. We're told it was a different glove about 2 miles from Nancy's house, not that glove. So right now, that is a dead end, but that doesn't mean that there's no hope in using genealogy.
Still hope there. And there's something else that the FBI is doing that could lead to the person who showed up on Nancy's doorstep. And it all has to do with that video that the FBI released and the gun that was on that man's waistband, and that holster in particular. Remember, we thought it was weird, the positioning, but also the holster itself wasn't made for the type of gun that this guy is carrying.
Semi-automatic handgun.
Because it was unique, that's what the FBI locked in on.
So what the FBI, we're told that authorities have actually found around 40 people. News Nation first reported that gun stores were given a list of about 40 people. We're told that list is from people who bought that type of holster. It's kind of a unique holster.
Right, and Tucson, and the FBI basically found in the Tucson area 40 people who had purchased that particular holster.
So what they're doing is they're now contacting gun stores. It's kind of a smart move to find out, did anybody buy that type of gun? And if there's somebody among those 40 who have both the holster and the gun, it's going to pique the FBI's interest.
Right.
So that's just another line that they are going...
Which is similar to what we had talked about with the backpack and the jacket that we knew that authorities would be locked in on that. Once they could find out where those things are carried, then they would check with those stores in the Tucson area.
Right.
And we presume that is still happening with the backpack, which we know came from a Walmart. The thing is, there are...
And so did the jacket.
Right. That there are a lot, 15 Walmarts in the Tucson area? So...
I thought it was...
Was that the number? Because we were looking
Alexa,
at ourselves
how many? I thought there were nine.
Nine.
There are 9. Okay, so 9 Walmarts, still a lot.
Yeah.
So there are 2 ways of going here. One is if they could find a gun that was purchased by the same person who, that type of gun, by the same person who purchased the holster. But the other thing is if you find somebody who purchased that holster, also a similar backpack and a similar jacket.
Now you've got the perfect storm.
So there are all sorts of ways. The way this was put to me today is that authorities are doing gumshoe detective work. That's the way it was put, gumshoe detective work, that they are just doing everything they can. They're following all sorts of leads, hoping that something will bear fruit. But it's not like they've got one hot lead that they're finding, because my understanding from various conversations is there just isn't. There still isn't. So there's this kind of gumshoe report
They've got
investigating.
thousands of leads. In fact, I think the sheriff said tens of thousands of leads that they've got to comb through, and they got to figure out which ones are worth sending people out to go check, or which ones you can just throw out the window, but they got to go through all of that.
Again, this ransom note that we got, we know that they are keenly, the FBI is keenly interested in this ransom note. So they obviously continue on that front. Now, we told you yesterday about a 4th letter we received from this man who says he knows the identity of the kidnapper and the location of Nancy Guthrie and is willing to give that up for the $100,000 reward. He has sent us 4 emails, and we have forwarded them on to the FBI. We have made a decision not to publicize any more emails this guy sends. And there's
Unless
no,
he sends...
Even if he sends that. See, here's the problem. If he sends us that information, we're not going to say, hey, the kidnapper's at this address.
Oh, right, as far as publicizing, right. No,
we're going to give it to the FBI.
That's going to go to the FBI.
But the problem is
what you offered yesterday.
Right, but the problem is if he sends us other notes and we say he sent us another note and he's not going to pay. He sent us another note and he's not going to pay. He sent us another note and we're not going to tell you what's in it. Suddenly, that's telegraphing he finally gave it up.
Right.
It gives the kidnapper a tip.
Right.
Get the hell out of where he is. We're not going to do that. So we're just not going to publicize anything about this guy until we get that information. If we get it, we are not going to tell you. We're going to send it to the FBI. And then when it's appropriate, we will say that guy helped lead to that. And that creates a public record. So if that guy is watching us right now, you should know that public record will probably lead to you getting the reward if you come forward with that information. You don't trust the FBI. You've made that clear in the emails. So tell us and we'll forward it, and there's a public record, and then you will get your money, presumably.
I am John in Washington, D.C. 2 quick thoughts on this. First of all, how insane that the cops were able to find a glove 2 miles away. That fact blows my mind in terms of being so impressed with law enforcement. The second thing is on the genealogy. One thing police have done in the past, which is not ethical, but it's interesting. You sign up for an ancestry account anyway, and you use the DNA and you pretend that you're the person looking for relatives. Now, I'm not suggesting they do it. I don't know what the law is with regards to that, but I do use Ancestry and MyHeritage and others for my own genealogy. You get hundreds of relatives that they find for you, and as you said earlier, you start to locate where those matches are. Are there certain cities where 100 of those people pop in? And suddenly you start to narrow this geographically. It's scary on a privacy level, but it's also kind of fascinating on a personal level that somebody could possibly be helped this way.
Yeah, we are told that there are privacy laws regarding how the feds can use...
Right. I would imagine if they did what you were suggesting and then they actually find someone, that would be a problem in court.
Yes, and they need the cooperation of these companies. So posing that way would probably violate the privacy laws. But Ancestry, 23andMe, the big ones, they are not playing ball with them. So that's kind of where we are right now, and where we are today is kind of where we've been over the last few days.